Hi, pastors. Bill Chaney here. Pastor Ron asked me to lead a team for one of the targets, church health. And so today I have with me our team. We have Matt Messner from Eureka Faith Center, and we also have Elias Abdallah from the Journey Church in Bakersfield. And so our goal today is to share with you a general overview of what we want to offer you in the year 2016. And so we have some resources, some ideas that we're going to kick around and just kind of talk together as we go through the four major points that we want to focus on. We're going to talk about healthy leaders equals healthy churches. What it means to really talk about the leader's health. We can't expect the church to be healthier than the leader leading it. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about organizational health and accountability and what that means, the areas that that would cover, and how we can come alongside you and help in some of those areas where you may be experiencing challenges. Then we're going to talk about healthy transitions, because I think we've seen a lot of challenges in those areas. Some seem to work really well, others have some difficulties. We want to talk about how to do that to the best of our ability, and perhaps by giving resources and help and coaching in those areas. And lastly, we'll talk about assessments, different ways to assess the local church so that we can define reality and move toward health in areas where perhaps we're not having that experience, and then see action plans developed so that we can move about the Father's business. So that's what we're going to do today. So I want to just start by just talking with each of our team members here. Matt, welcome. Glad to have you here. As we talk about healthy leaders and what that means to bring health to the church, what are some of the initial thoughts that perhaps comes to your mind?
Well, this is a really exciting topic. One of the three targets that the denomination has set for Foursquare being leadership development, church multiplication, and church health. And when it comes to church health, the church will only be as healthy as the leaders who lead it. So anything that we can do to grow as leaders, to become healthier leaders ourselves, it's going to have an impact on the congregation. It's going to have an impact on the lives of the people. And not only that, but our own areas of deficiencies or the areas that we struggle in. Those are things that we can grow through, that we can change potentially, that God wants to change in us as leaders. So to discover those things and to see those things healed and overcome, we want to provide pastors with resources that will help in that process so that as they become healthier, their churches are going to become healthier, because we know that healthy things will grow.
Very good. And Elias, so what are some things that come to your mind when we talk about the health of leaders?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Bill. As we talk about health, I've experienced myself personally the most growth the last 5 or 6 years of my life, because I've had people in my life speaking into my life, and I've been open to that. And it takes a degree of vulnerability, it takes a degree of transparency to open up and really talk about things that we're going through. But I believe that once we do that, once we have that transparency, we really get to the root issues of things in our life that need to be dealt with. And it's kind of like I mentioned to you earlier, I went to the doctor on Friday. I'm turning 40. Actually, I just turned 40. And there's certain checkups that have to be done. And I'm certainly not looking forward to some of these checkups, but the reason I'm doing them is because I know it's going to protect me to be healthy.
Yeah. Matt, as Elias brings that up, do you think that maybe some of the reasons churches remain less than healthy is because the leader is perhaps either unaware of some health issues in their own private life, or maybe embarrassed or not sure where to go in terms of how to improve their own personal development or health?
I think that is often the case, and that'll be really related to the last point that we make in talking about assessments. It's difficult to assess ourselves and to see our own areas of deficiency or where we're struggling or where we could even grow. And so that's one of the biggest challenges that we face.
What are some resources that we could talk about in this segment perhaps that pastors could benefit from?
Well, and that's the one thing that I think we can do as a team is try to provide pastors with resources and tools that will help them become healthier leaders. That's really one of the few things we can do. So that's the goal of our team, is to provide you with those kinds of resources. There are resources that will help you be a healthier leader that come from our denomination. There are resources that will come to you from the district. There are resources that we would like to make available to you through our website, the district website, as well as the denominational website. So those are just some of the things we can do, is to provide you with tools that will help you become a healthier leader. Some of those things have to do with personal care, the personal life of a leader. We all go through challenging times. We're not all healthy. We're all being healed. So what can we do to provide pastors with access to things that will help them grow spiritually, to grow in their marriage and in their families? I mean, that's one element of what we want to do. That element overlaps a little bit with the leadership development target, but that's okay. We want to hit it from both directions. Healthy leaders are going to make healthy churches, but that is also a part of leadership development.
That's good. Elias, when we talk about the next segment, organizational health and accountability, is there anything that comes to your mind about challenges you've either had personally or you've seen with pastor friends and colleagues where this is a need that we need to address?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it goes back to being open. Organizational health comes from the health of the leader. And what we need to do is identify what it is. When we talk about health, the word, if you define health, it means to be without illness or to be without disease. And so we got to ask the question, why am I not healthy? Why is the church not healthy? And so we have to get to the root of what it is. And as you look at the human body, there's different reasons. Sometimes it could be a virus. And a virus has to run its course. And sometimes in churches, there could be a virus that has to run its course where the Lord is saying, for now, I just need you to stay strong and believe. Other times there's a disease. And if there's a disease, then we know that the doctor will prescribe something. He'll give us an antibiotic. And so sometimes we have a prescription from the Word. And this is what we are to do. This is how we are to remedy it. And other times there could be an accident. I was in a motorcycle accident a few months ago and broke 5 bones and got road rash on both arms and my stomach and my back. And that was extreme. And so I needed people to come around me and to help me. And sometimes there's extreme things like these in our organization where we're going to need people to come side by side and to help us.
Thank you, Elias. Those are great thoughts. I'd like to just add, I think this too will require a little bit of a culture shift, because just like leaders in their own personal health are sometimes reticent to say, I need help. I think organizationally they experience some of that same reticence for whatever reasons. But I want to just encourage you, pastors, that there are skills that can be taught. So if you're lacking in some kind of organizational setting, there is help available, and we want to be a part of that team of being a resource to you or connecting you with a resource that can take you to the next level in terms of skill development. But also, to help raise up volunteers is so critical. I think sometimes pastors, especially church planters who've had to do everything themselves, sometimes forget that there's gold in them thar pews, as they used to say, and to really find people who are doing things that you are not necessarily strong at, and then developing a trust relationship with them so you can release ministry to them. And for whatever reason, there's some pastors who have pastored for years and years and years, but feel like they have to control everything, and it just really wears them down. And that can go back to the leader's health. Even if they started out good, their organizational practices could be part of the reason they're now going through a personal challenging time. And so just remember that. And this new culture, we need to be open, we need to be honest in defining reality both on the personal level and the organizational level, or we won't get the help that we need to get us to the health that we so desire. So I want to move to the next segment, which is healthy transitions. And Matt, I want to start with you and just maybe some of the things that raise your eyebrow when we talk about this issue, or things that you've seen? Or
Yeah, well, when it comes to healthy transitions, we're talking about primarily the transition of our churches from one senior pastor then to another, and how we handle those transitions. Our polity is one where this district itself appoints senior pastors. And as is often the case, when a pastor comes into a role as a senior pastor in a new church, they will have a limited amount of information when they come into that situation. What we want to do is we want to provide them with as much information as possible to make that transition as healthy as it possibly can be. And of course, the divisional superintendent is there, the district office is there, and the district supervisor is there to do the appointment. But we want to be able to provide these new pastors with coaching and support as they navigate those waters, quite often in a new community, a new culture, a new congregation, just to be there. In some cases, they'll be conducting their first church council meeting. They'll be managing the books for the first time. And we want to provide a support system that is there for them. We also recognize that in our movement right now, we have many pastors who are moving into the age of retirement. And so how are we going to handle these anticipated transitions in a way that is healthy? Where new pastors are going to be appointed, yet existing pastors may want to have some say in that transition and appointment of their successor. So we want to open up that communication so that these transitions are done in a healthy way, in an accountable way, in an open way, in a way that will serve the congregations best of all.
That's very good. And Elias, what comes to your mind when we talk about transitions, healthy transitions?
Well, Bill, as you know, I was on staff at another church in Bakersfield, and Pastor Ron came to me and said, Elias, I have a church I think you would be great at, but there's no people and no salary. And I thought, boy, that's kind of tempting. Well, as we prayed about it, we really heard a word from God and felt we are to go to this church and accept the appointment. Well, when I got there, it was quite a bit of a surprise, and the surprises really kept coming. After I was there for about 2 or 3 days, PG&E came and turned off our power. I learned very quickly that the church was behind about $4,000 to $5,000 in bills. And about 2 months later, I got another bill for $22,000 for back taxes. On top of that, there was 3 homeless people living in the buildings. There was vodka in the fridge. The transition was very rocky, you would say.
Yeah.
The church home had a guy living in it that claimed he could stay there for another 5 years. And so I was going back and forth to court and lawyers. And so as Matt's talking about healthy transitions, I'm thinking we definitely want to help pastors in the future to have a healthy transition, to know the state of the church, to understand where it's at, to kind of feel its temperature. Who's the council? What are the leaders? Is it going through something that is difficult at this time? How can we help you make this transition? Even simple things like I couldn't even get into the bank account. There was some money in the bank, and nobody had a signature card. And so I had to walk away and just start a new bank account. And so it'd be great to have some type of exit interview form, perhaps, that would kind of tell us these things that are going to be helpful to somebody who's coming in.
Right. That's great. And I believe that's exactly what we need, because not every pastor tells their superintendent or district supervisor some of the critical information, and sometimes they leave for a reason and in such a way where that's not even possible. So having all the information as early as possible on an ongoing way, maybe not even waiting for the exit to have some of these things registered with the district, might be helpful. And then, of course, an exit interview is also a wonderful idea. When we talk about resources in this area, let me go to you, Matt, first. What are some ideas that we could offer for 2016, looking forward?
Well, we are prepared to offer any pastors who are moving into a new senior pastoral role some coaching and some support, one-on-one coaching from another pastor. It could be somebody from within their division. It might be someone from outside their division, but just someone who will walk beside them. I think about when I came into my current position as a senior pastor, somebody gave me 2 books that were very helpful. One was called Managing Transitions, another one was called Your First 90 Days. Both of them were secular books, but they helped me ask the right questions. They helped me understand the culture that I was moving into. And we want to provide pastors with that kind of coaching, that kind of support, giving them tools, being there to pray for them. If we find out that they have $20,000 of back taxes, helping them navigate those problems. That doesn't mean we're going to be able to pay the bills or anything like that, but it's just to know that you have support, that there are people who are going to walk with you. You're not going to be alone in those challenges.
And I think as we, in the future, move forward to help develop some resources online, that there'll be some things there that we can help with. We're wanting to either have a tab on our district website, somehow a link to move into each of the targets. So we would have one for leadership development, one for church health, one for church multiplication. And in this case, if you tap onto church health, hopefully we're going to be developing over this next year some resources that are right there at your fingertips and free of charge to you. And so we're looking forward to that. Also, as we move into the next segment of assessments, this kind of is an overlap and kind of a segue. What are your thoughts in terms of assessments?
Well, I think most people get a little bit nervous the moment you say assessment. So just to acknowledge that there's a bit of a fear that people often have, whether they're being reviewed or assessed, it can create a defensive posture. So I think right off the bat, I just want to encourage every pastor who's out there that we do not want to be an assessment fearful culture. We want to be a culture that embraces this, because we all have areas that we can grow in. We all have areas that we can improve upon. And the assessment process will identify your strengths as well as potential growth areas. And so we have been looking at assessment tools and working with other leaders in Foursquare from around the United States to identify the best tool that we could find. There's no perfect assessment tool. We'll acknowledge that. But we found the Transformational Church Assessment Tool, it's also called TCAT for short, is a great tool that's been used in other districts very successfully. We as a team, along with our denominational leaders, are prepared to offer the Transformational Church Assessment Tool to any pastors who are willing to sign up today. Not only that, but just anytime during 2016, if you would notify us and let us know that you're willing to take that process on, we will pay for the assessment. We'll also give you a copy of the Transformational Church book.
Now that would be free of charge to the local church, correct?
It is, okay. And it's a significant investment, but it will pay big dividends. It really has been proven to be very helpful in leaders growing their churches, improving the ministry of their church. And what it does is it works with 7 elements that have been identified as important areas in any church life. Those 7 elements being a missionary mentality, vibrant leadership, relational intentionality, prayerful dependence, the worship life of the church, the community of the church, connecting people with people, and finally, the mission of the church, to show Jesus through word and action. So it evaluates those 7 areas and gives you kind of a report card back, shows you action steps that you can take, areas that you can improve on, as well as the areas that are really strong.
That's good. Now, we as a team are agreeing to be the first to sign up for these assessments. So we want to encourage you. We want to model it for you. Don't see it as something to be viewed with fear or even a hesitancy, but launch forward. It's free to you as the district is underwriting it. And we're going to take advantage of it and want you to take advantage of it too, because you begin with defining reality, and then you can move forward to achieving your destiny. That's what it's really about. And this is a tool to help all of us as pastors and leaders to do that. You have any thoughts on the assessment part?
A long time ago I heard a pastor describe our heart as being a garden, and I never forgot about that. And when I think about my garden, I'm out there every Saturday pulling weeds And then I come out next Saturday or the Saturday following, and I just think to myself, wait a minute, didn't I pluck you out last week and you're back? Yeah. And so our heart is kind of like that. There's a lot of beautiful things in there, but weeds do creep in. And so as we do these assessments with an open heart, kind of like David, search me, O God, and see if there's anything in me. And we just continue to pull out those weeds. And it happens in all of our hearts. And so we're talking about transparency and being vulnerable. All of us have those weeds that come back. And so it just takes a little bit of introspection to look inside and say, you know what, this doesn't belong. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Elias. Matt, you have any final thoughts in terms of the assessments?
Well, we will provide every church with coaching and support when it comes to going through the full assessment process. It takes about 3 months. It is a very robust program. Some might see it as a little bit complicated because we are getting input from the congregation, from the leaders, from the staff of every church. But we will walk with you through that whole process, making it as simple and as practical as possible for you.
So there's ongoing support then?
There is, for sure.
Yes.
And I just want to make one other comment.
Yeah.
If you have a congregation of less than 50 people, the Transformational Church Assessment tool might not be the best tool that there is for you. But we, as a team, are prepared to give you other tools that would work for those smaller congregations. So please contact us. If that's you, let us know that you would like to grow and improve and to make your church a healthier place. And we have tools that are specifically designed for the smaller churches as well.
That's excellent. And speaking of contacting us, in a moment you'll see on the screen our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to any of us to let us know that you're interested in the assessment or to give us a challenge that maybe we have not identified that you would like to see us work on, or to reach out for help in any way. That's what we're here for. So we want to let you know that you're in our prayers, and we want to bless you in any way we can. 2016 should be a wonderful year if we pull together and we all get healthy as leaders and as churches. God bless you.